Kendrick Johnson was a vibrant and promising 17-year-old high school student from Valdosta, Georgia. Known for his infectious smile and friendly demeanor, he was well-liked by his peers and cherished by his family. Kendrick was an active member of his community, participating in various school activities and sports. He had dreams of pursuing a career in sports, inspired by his love for basketball and the support of his friends and family. Kendrick's family instilled strong values in him, emphasizing the importance of education and integrity. He was a loving son and a devoted brother, always looking out for his younger siblings. His close-knit family shared many memorable moments together, from family game nights to weekend outings. Kendrick's life was filled with hope and ambition, and he had a bright future ahead of him. However, everything changed in January 2013. On one seemingly ordinary day, Kendrick went to school with the same enthusiasm he always had. But that day would take a tragic turn, leading to a series of events that would forever alter the lives of those who loved him. The mystery surrounding his death would leave a lasting impact on the community and raise critical questions about safety and accountability. Days after Kendrick Johnson went missing, a grim discovery was made in the very gym where he had last been seen. On January 11, 2013, school officials and law enforcement were alerted when Kendrick's body was found inside a rolled-up gym mat, tucked away in a corner. The scene was shocking and unsettling, evoking disbelief among students and faculty alike. When authorities arrived, they encountered a scene that left many questions unanswered. Kendrick was found upside down within the mat, and there were no signs of struggle or foul play at first glance. The initial ruling suggested that he had accidentally fallen into the mat while searching for his shoes and had become trapped. The circumstances surrounding his discovery seemed baffling, raising eyebrows and doubts among his family and the community. As news of Kendrick's death spread, it sent shockwaves through Valdosta. Friends and classmates mourned the loss of a beloved peer, while Kendrick's family struggled to comprehend the tragic turn of events. The investigation began, but the family was not satisfied with the initial findings. They believed there was more to the story, leading them to question the circumstances of Kendrick's untimely death and seek the truth behind the tragedy. The initial investigation into Kendrick Johnson's death was marked by a series of troubling oversights and conclusions. Law enforcement quickly classified Kendrick's death as an accidental incident, suggesting that he had fallen into the gym mat while searching for his missing shoes. This ruling was based on the absence of immediate evidence pointing to foul play, but the circumstances surrounding the discovery raised many questions. As the investigation unfolded, Kendrick's family expressed their deep skepticism regarding the accident theory. They felt that the authorities had not conducted a thorough enough inquiry into the details surrounding their son's death. The family's concerns were compounded by the lack of transparency in the investigation, which left them feeling frustrated and helpless. They sought answers about how Kendrick ended up in the mat, and whether there were any other factors at play. The family quickly turned to private investigators, hoping to uncover new evidence and bring attention to their concerns. They believed that a more comprehensive investigation could reveal the truth behind Kendrick's tragic death. As the community began to rally around the Johnson family, the call for justice grew louder, further complicating the narrative surrounding Kendrick's passing. The initial investigation would become a focal point in their quest for answers. In the wake of Kendrick Johnson's death, his family embarked on a determined and emotional fight for justice. Grieving the loss of their beloved son and brother, they refused to accept the initial ruling of accidental death. Instead, they sought to uncover the truth behind the circumstances that led to Kendrick being found in the gym mat. Kendrick's parents, particularly his mother, Jacqueline, became vocal advocates for their son, using every platform available to them. They held press conferences, participated in interviews, and reached out to local and national media to share Kendrick's story. Their unwavering commitment to seeking justice resonated with many in the community, who were outraged by the lack of accountability and the perceived mishandling of the investigation. The Johnson family also hired private investigators to explore new leads and gather evidence that might contradict the initial findings. They meticulously documented their findings, collected testimonies from classmates, and sought out anyone who might have information about the events leading up to Kendrick's death. Their efforts highlighted the importance of transparency in investigations involving young individuals and shed light on broader issues of safety and justice within schools. As their advocacy gained traction, the family became symbols of resilience in the face of tragedy, igniting a movement for change and accountability, not just for Kendrick but for all families seeking justice for their loved ones. The community of Valdosta, Georgia was deeply affected by Kendrick Johnson's tragic death. As news spread, a sense of shock and grief enveloped the town, leading to an outpouring of support for the Johnson family. Friends, classmates, and residents came together to mourn Kendrick, remembering him as a vibrant and caring young man who brought joy to those around him. Memorials were held at the high school, where students gathered to honor Kendrick's life. Candles were lit, and flowers were placed at makeshift altars as a tribute to their fallen peer. Many shared their memories, recounting stories of Kendrick's kindness, humor, and dedication to his friends and family. The atmosphere was one of solidarity as the community collectively grappled with the loss of a young life, filled with potential. As the Johnson family began to advocate for justice, community support intensified. Local organizations and activists rallied behind them, organizing marches and vigils to raise awareness about Kendrick's case. The broader issue of safety in schools, as well as the need for accountability in similar cases, became focal points for discussion within the community and beyond. The solidarity shown by residents of Valdosta highlighted the strength of community bonds in times of tragedy. It also underscored the importance of standing together to seek justice, as many felt a personal connection to Kendrick's story, recognizing the need for lasting change to ensure the safety of all students. As the investigation into Kendrick Johnson's death progressed, new evidence and theories began to emerge, complicating the initial narrative of an accidental death. The Johnson family, through their private investigators and legal team, uncovered several inconsistencies in the official reports and began to question the circumstances of Kendrick's death more deeply. One significant piece of evidence that raised eyebrows was the autopsy report, which indicated that Kendrick had suffered blunt force trauma to the neck. This detail contradicted the notion that his death was purely accidental, leading the family to believe that there might have been foul play involved. Additionally, the lack of surveillance footage from the gym at the time of Kendrick's disappearance was seen as suspicious, as it could have provided crucial insights into the events leading up to his death. Furthermore, testimonies from classmates surfaced, suggesting that Kendrick may have been involved in conflicts with other students. These accounts led to speculation about possible motives for harm, sparking discussions about bullying and rivalry. The emergence of these new theories fueled the family's determination to seek justice, as they believed that exploring every angle was essential to uncovering the truth. As public interest in the case grew, various media outlets began to cover the story, amplifying the Johnson family's quest for answers. The combination of emerging evidence, community support, and increased media attention created a powerful momentum that kept Kendrick's story alive and called for a more thorough investigation into his tragic death. White. The Johnson family's pursuit of justice for Kendrick was not without its challenges. As they sought to uncover the truth behind their son's death, they faced numerous legal battles that tested their resolve. After hiring private investigators and gathering evidence, they decided to file a wrongful death lawsuit against multiple parties, including the Lowndes County School District and law enforcement officials. The legal process was complex and emotionally taxing. The family encountered significant obstacles, with the defendants often pushing back against the allegations and attempting to dismiss the case. Legal representatives for the school district argued that Kendrick's death was a tragic accident and that the school had fulfilled its duty of care. This assertion was met with frustration from the Johnson family, who believed that the school had not taken sufficient measures to ensure student safety and that the investigation had been inadequate. As the case unfolded in court, the Johnson family faced the daunting task of presenting their findings and evidence to support their claims. They had to navigate the legal system while grappling with their grief, which made the process even more challenging. The emotional weight of reliving the details of Kendrick's death was compounded by the pressure of the courtroom environment. Despite these difficulties, the Johnson family remained steadfast in their pursuit of justice. They understood that their fight was not just for Kendrick, but also for other families who had faced similar circumstances. Their resolve inspired many, and they became symbols of resilience in the face of adversity, determined to hold those responsible accountable and ensure that no parent would have to endure a similar tragedy without answers. As the legal battles progressed, Kendrick Johnson's case garnered significant media attention, transforming it into a national story. News outlets began to cover the family's fight for justice extensively, bringing light to the inconsistencies in the investigation and the Johnson family's concerns. The coverage helped to amplify their message, raising awareness about the issues of safety in schools and the need for accountability in similar cases. Social media played a crucial role in mobilizing support for the Johnson family. Hashtags like Justice for Kendrick trended online as supporters shared their thoughts, memories of Kendrick, and calls for justice. The public outcry was palpable, with many people expressing outrage over what they perceived as a tragic mishandling of the case. Activists and community leaders joined the conversation, advocating for changes in policies regarding school safety and investigations into student deaths. The growing interest in Kendrick's story led to an increase in public demonstrations, including rallies and vigils. Supporters gathered outside the courthouse during legal proceedings, holding signs and chanting for justice. These events brought together individuals from various backgrounds, united by their desire to see accountability and change. The Johnson family's fight resonated with many who had experienced similar tragedies or felt a connection to the issues at hand. This wave of media attention not only put pressure on local authorities, but also spurred discussions about broader systemic issues, including racial disparities in the treatment of cases involving young people. The Johnson family's advocacy became emblematic of a larger movement seeking justice and reform, ensuring that Kendrick's legacy would live on through the fight for change. As the legal battles progressed, Kendrick Johnson's case garnered significant media attention, transforming it into a national story. News outlets began to cover the family's fight for justice extensively, bringing light to the inconsistencies in the investigation and the Johnson family's concerns. The coverage helped to amplify their message, raising awareness about the issues of safety in schools and the need for accountability in similar cases. Social media played a crucial role in mobilizing support for the Johnson family. Hashtags like Justice for Kendrick trended online, as supporters shared their thoughts, memories of Kendrick, and calls for justice. The public outcry was palpable, with many people expressing outrage over what they perceived as a tragic mishandling of the case. Activists and community leaders joined the conversation, advocating for changes in policies regarding school safety and investigations into student deaths. The growing interest in Kendrick's story led to an increase in public demonstrations, including rallies and vigils. Supporters gathered outside the courthouse during legal proceedings, holding signs and chanting for justice. These events brought together individuals from various backgrounds, united by their desire to see accountability and change. The Johnson family's fight resonated with many who had experienced similar tragedies or felt a connection to the issues at hand. This wave of media attention not only put pressure on local authorities but also spurred discussions about broader systemic issues, including racial disparities in the treatment of cases involving young people. The Johnson family's advocacy became emblematic of a larger movement seeking justice and reform, ensuring that Kendrick's legacy would live on through the fight for change.